We don't like Dallas. They don't like us. That's good for the game.
There's no love lost. There's been wars down there in the previous years past.
You really lick your chops at the opportunity to play in this game, but at the same time, you know everybody in America is watching this football game.
This is a game that is not the caliber of game that the Super Bowl was, but it is a big game.
So it may be a couple personal fouls and some late hits and stuff like that, traditional stuff.
Firing deep, he's got Harper, Alvin Harper.
He scored! 94 yards!
There's definitely a dislike for Dallas.
If we want to stop being embarrassed as a football team against the Dallas Cowboys, we got to start playing at a high level against the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoever wins this game is going to be America's team.
And that was a big drive for the Cowboys.
Michael Irvin, wide open, touchdown Cowboys!
What's the deal? Why can't you beat them?
I don't know. It's just, that's a tough question, but, you know, they've always been able to find some way to just wear us down, and get the job done.
In all those games, all 7 of them, turnovers played a significant role. And we were very sloppy with the football. And it always bothered me a lot because I never felt as though we played our best.
He sets up, pump fake. Now goes way down the field, intercepted by the Cowboys.
Couldn't throw it when he wanted to, so when he did want to, he had to force
Before they kick me out of here, I'd like to try and win one of those, you know.
Do you see that same superior kind of Dallas Cowboys team?
Yeah, that's still Dallas. Yeah. Same organization, same colors, same players, same owner, same thing. And we still haven't beaten them.
You see big play guys, and that's how they're beating us, with their big play guys.
I mean, they're like, hey, everyone expects the Packers to win, and they're 8-3 and defending Super Bowl champions. Although we've beaten them, everyone's saying, hey, we're 6-5, we're going down. We'll go in there and have fun and play, and that's what scares me.
Chris Boniol boots it through. It is good, and the Cowboys... And this is what the Packers are saying to them. This is showing us no respect whatever.
We've been waiting a long time to have Dallas here because we can't beat them down there.
I think the fact that we're playing at Dallas all those times has to factor in.
That's an excuse, Antonio.
Yeah, it is, but it's always better when you're at home.
We want to let them know that, you know, it's different playing in Green Bay than it is anywhere else in the NFL.
We should have had the opportunity to beat them down there. You know, we've been having a lot of people cry, well, we want them in Green Bay. Well, let's see how bad we want them in Green Bay.
All right, Pam Oliver, thank you very much for that report. It is time now for our Fox Energizer Playbook, and for that we bring in our guys, Pat Summerall and John Madden. And fellas, you've called quite a few of these Dallas and Green Bay games. What are you looking for this afternoon?
Well, I suppose, JB, you talked about the injuries earlier, and there are 3 key injuries for the Packers. Brooks, who took part in the warm-up, Reggie White, who came out with the rest of the defensive unit, and Gilbert Brown, who didn't even take part in the pregame warm-up. So that's something we'll be watching as the game progresses. There's one other matchup that the Packers are hoping for and hoping they can make stand up, and John Madden's back at his telestrator to explain what that's all about.
Well, you know, the thing is, Pat, is that the Green Bay Packers have lost the last 8 straight games to the Dallas Cowboys, and they've really been manhandled at the line of scrimmage, and they haven't been aggressive. And today, Fritz Sherman, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, wants to have an aggressive defense, and he knows what he has to stop. I mean, if you look at their offense, and you know that this is what it is. I mean, you got Troy Aikman, you got Emmitt Smith, and you have Michael Irvin. Now, these are the 3 guys that have really, over the years, given the Green Bay Packers a lot of trouble because they could never stop Emmitt Smith running in here. So what they're going to do today is they're going to take Doug Evans and they're going to line him up on Michael Irvin. Now, if Doug Evans can handle Michael Irvin by himself, then that's going to free Leroy Butler. That's going to free him up to come up for the run, to be 8 men in the box, and that'll help against Emmitt Smith. That's also going to free Leroy Butler to come up here and blitz Troy Aikman on the pass because they know that they have to knock Troy Aikman down. They have to stop Emmitt Smith's inside running, and they have to take Michael Irvin away, hopefully with one guy, and that one guy being Doug Evans. So that's what we're talking about today, and we're talking about doing it aggressively because those 3 guys have killed the Packers.
And those are keys we'll be watching throughout the afternoon. Back to you, J.B. Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and the playmaker, Michael Irvin. Your usual team will be dispatched. Brett Favre will be your point man, and the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, will back him up. As always, should you or any member of your Packer force fail, the Cheeseheads will disavow all knowledge of your actions. This tape will self-destruct. As the sun rose this morning over Lambeau Field, there were and still are a lot of questions to be answered. The crowd at Lambeau Field unmatched anywhere in pro football, as the Dallas Cowboys' long-awaited visit to Green Bay and Lambeau has arrived. This is a big game, obviously, because of the rivalry between these two, but because of the standings as well. The Giants, Washington, and Dallas in the NFC East, and Green Bay involved in a three-way tie for first place in the NFC Central. Green Bay, Minnesota, and Tampa Bay. I'm Pat Summerall with John Madden. Let's get right to the meat of the matter. John, what does Dallas have to do today?
Offense.
And so coming up, it's the Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers from Lambeau Field. And John and I'll be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station. Has won 24 straight home games. Dallas has won 8 straight against Green Bay, 7 of those at Texas Stadium. Dallas is 0-3 at Lambeau Field. 20 degrees the temperature. With the wind chill factor, it is -8. But John Madden, it doesn't really feel too bad.
No, and I think there's so much emotion down in the field with these players that it feels like normal weather to them. This is good hitting weather. This is good football weather.
Back deep for Dallas as they will receive the opening kickoff. Herschel Walker and Brock Marion, and it's going to be Walker who comes out of the end zone after a little hesitation. But Herschel Walker gets out to the 26, and let's look at the Cowboy offense, led by, of course, Troy Aikman. 7-1, his career record against Green Bay. Coming off that emotional performance last week. In front of him, Hageman, Newton, Shiver, Allen, and Eric Williams back after being a question mark earlier in the week. Emmitt Smith and Herschel Walker open as the backs. Michael Irvin, Anthony Miller, the wide receivers, and Eric Bjornsson, the tight end. Gilbert Brown, who didn't take part in the team warm-ups, is out on the field and part of the defensive unit lined up over Shiver. And here's Aikman back to throw. Gets it out to Emmitt Smith on first down, and Smith knocked out of bounds immediately. Seth Joyner questionable. Santana Dotson and Gabe Wilskins the other two. Brian Williams, Bernardo Harris in the middle, and Seth Joyner, who just made that play. And the secondary, Doug Evans, a big load on his shoulders. Eugene Robinson, Leroy Butler, and Tyrone Williams. 2nd and 13.
Look at this, Pat. On 2nd down, the Packers have gone to a 3-man line.
Aikman back to throw. The blitz comes, and down he goes.
And that's one of the reasons that they went through a 3-man line, so that they could do some blitzing. They wanted to show the Cowboys a different blitz, and you're going to see exactly what they do. I said they line a 3-man line. Here's the 3-man right here. Then they bring the blitz from the outside and the inside.
Bernardo Harris
on Troy Aikman's backside. I don't think the Cowboys were ready for that. The Green Bay Packers are not a big 3-man line team, nor are they a big blitzing team from the 3-man line. That was a Fritz Schirmer special for the Cowboys.
3 wide receivers, 4-man front this time for Green Bay. They're not going to blitz, and Aikman will go to work. Incomplete, intended for Stepford Williams.
Great series by the Green Bay Packer defense. They wanted to not let Troy Aikman get in a rhythm, and they sure did it on that. First of all, they started with a 4-man line, and then went to a 3-man line blitz, and then went back to a 4-man line, and they didn't let Troy Aikman get off to any kind of smooth start.
Toby going back to punt for Dallas, and Derek Mays deep for Green Bay. Owen's kick is not very good. Bounces out of bounds right at midfield. And let's have a look at the Green Bay starting offensive unit now, led by the trigger man, Brett Favre, who has not been able to pull the trigger against Dallas. 0-7. Verba, Taylor, Winters, Timmerman, and Dotson up front. Dorsey Levens, William Henderson, Antonio Freeman, and Robert Brooks. There was a big question about him, and Mark Chimura. Brooks is wearing a protective jacket. He broke a rib 2 weeks ago, punctured a lung. Here's Brett Favre to Dorsey Levens, and Levens pounds away for a first down on his first carry. Here's the Dallas defense. The front four: Carver, Hennings, Casillas, and Tolbert. The linebackers: Coakley, Strickland, and Godfrey. The secondary: Sanders, Brock Marion, Darren Woodson, and Kevin Smith.
One of the things Mike Holmgren said yesterday, Pat, is if he can get some running going with Dorsey Levens, that'll take a little of the pressure off Brett Favre's shoulders.
Dorsey Levens lined up deep behind Henderson. And again, he gets the carry. Levens gets a couple. Deion Sanders made the stop.
You know, that's one of the things that they want to do. They want to not only run, but they want to run at Deion Sanders, get in a position, or get Deion Sanders in a position that he has to get up there and make the tackle. Now, the Green Bay Packers are not an inside running team. They're a team that runs at the edges. And, you know, after they get at the edges, then they get outside, then they go looking for Deion Sanders to make a play in the running game.
3 wide receivers now: Mays, Brooks, Freeman. Favre again to Levens, and Levens smothered at the line of scrimmage by Deion Sanders.
Yeah, and that time it was Chad Hennings who got the penetration. See, on the first couple of runs, they didn't get any penetration, but if you watch here, you'll see Chad Hennings, and he's going to end up back here. Now, when a defensive lineman ends up back there, where Chad Hennings is right there, you see that redirects a back, and then not only redirects him, but that makes him stop. Now watch what Deion Sanders does here. He's on Derek Mays. He comes off, but Levens was just going into a slip as Deion Sanders was going into a tackle.
3rd and 8, 3 wide receivers, Green Bay at the Dallas 37. Favre back for his first attempt. Behind Antonio Freeman. It might have been deflected.
And again, that whole thing, you know, when we talked to Brett Favre yesterday, he says the second down play by the penetration, then on 3rd down, he's the guy that tipped the ball.
Hendrick back to punt for Green Bay, and Sanders deep. He'll let it sail over his head and into the end zone, and the Cowboys will take over at the 20. Both defensive units very impressive the first time on the field. Greens don't stay green. Mike Holmgren and Barry Switzer, the 2 head coaches. 2 tight ends set up for Dallas, a formation they've used in the last couple of weeks. Straight ahead is Emmitt Smith. And right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to Lambeau Field. Cowboys' second offensive possession. Aikman to Emmitt Smith. Fumble! Eugene Robinson, I believe, came up with it for Green Bay. This is the thing that the Packers have done in previous meetings.
This is the thing that Mike Holmgren talked about, that they had to turn around. You see, they're going to start off to the right side. You got a lead here by Herschel Walker, and I don't know that Emmitt Smith ever got that ball, Pat. It looked like it was an exchange problem. What? Troy Aikman is putting it out there with his left hand, and he puts it in there, but Emmitt Smith never gets control of the ball.
Never got it all the way in.
And then Eugene Robinson was right up there to jump on it.
First lost fumble for Dallas in the last 5 games. Favre. Incomplete. No flags. Tyrone Davis, the intended receiver.
Yeah, they really like Tyrone Davis. I was watching him practice, and he's the guy that when they get down here, they're going to throw to him. You see him here. They have 4 receivers, 3 wide receivers, and Tyrone Davis, who is a tight end. And they think that that's a matchup that they can win today, that they can get Tyrone Davis, their backup tight end, and a good receiver against a linebacker cover man instead of a corner.
That's what they had. They had the match. Second and 10. This is Levin. Levin's to about the 16, stopped by Chad Hennings.
You hear that contact in there?
Yep.
It was good hitting. Whether that was good hitting down there.
It is crisp.
Yeah, well, William Henderson is a good lead blocker. You know, we know that Dorsey Levens is a good pass receiver and a good runner. And part of the thing that helps that running game is the fullback blocking, the lead blocker. And William Henderson gives him something special there.
He's a load. He's about 250. In front of Levens.
He's a lot like Moose Johnston was when he was playing with the Cowboys.
Here's foul. Incomplete. Brooks hit by Brock Marion.
I don't know about this. Robert Brooks, you know, you'd mentioned that earlier, Pat, where he had a broken rib and the broken rib punctured a lung. Then he had a collapsed lung. He really hasn't played in 2 weeks, hasn't played. That was the first time that he's had contact since that broken rib game. Although he did finish the game in the broken rib game.
Longwell from 34 yards out. No good. That's only his third miss of the year. 9. Here's Longwell's field goal attempt from 34 yards out. Off the left upright as it was really hooking.
Yeah, it was hooking. He was on the right hash mark, so he has to put a little hook on it to get it in the middle, and I think he overhooked it.
Gilbert Brown is back. Aikman to Michael Irvin. And that's Aikman's first completion. Doug Evans made the stop.
And that's a matchup that we were talking about earlier. Doug Evans is going to be on Michael Irvin all day. And if he can handle him, and this is a matchup out here, and if he can handle him, then they can do something. Then they can take Leroy Butler, and he can either blitz or he can get up there and help against the run. They can free him up to help in other areas.
Aikman, and the exchange between Aikman and Emmitt Smith, again they miss. That looks like they've never worked together before.
Well, you know what they're trying to do, Pat, is they're trying to stay away from the inside running. They're trying to run on the edges wider than they normally do. Instead of running in the 4 hole, which would be between the guard and the tackle, they're trying to get out to the 6 hole, which is between the tight end and the tackle.
That would be because of the absence of Moose Johnston.
I think the absence of Moose Johnston. I think you know, they worry about the inside defense with Gilbert Brown in there, trying to get away from Gilbert Brown, trying to get more towards the edges.
The 3-man front again, and the Packers are showing blitz, and the Cowboys pick it up this time. Cowboys, Michael Irvin obviously thought there should have been a flag.
Yeah, on Doug Evans, and that's a matchup we're going to be watching all day today. And anytime they say, anytime that you can get man-to-man on Michael Irvin, and that's exactly what you have here, that they have to go to him. Doug Evans plays him well. He gets up there, he's physical with him, he can hit him for 5 yards. Michael Irvin pushes him in the head, then Doug Evans at the end pushes Michael Irvin. I think that could be a penalty on both of them.
I think it could be.
You know, the outside receivers and corners are getting more and more physical every week in this game.
Go on a better kick this time, but still, Mays will have a chance. The cover teams are excellent for the Cowboys and for the Packers, and again, they do their job, led by Vincent Smith. And so Green Bay takes over at about their own 37-yard line. Field, Pat Summerall with John Madden. No score yet. Michael Irvin is somewhat upset, I think you'd have to say.
Well, I think he's trying to fire his guys up and probably trying to fire himself up, and he's a little upset with that, losing that physical matchup with Doug Evans.
He kept pointing up at the instant replay board up here in the stadium. Here's Farr. Brooks got it.
Brett Favre
was down.
Brett Favre says that if they were going to work on someone, it's going to be Kevin Smith. That's the first pass that Brett Favre completed today. That's not a bad start.
And Brooks stayed down after he made the catch.
I think that rib, I think he's going to be up and down all day. But he ran a heck of a pattern. That was a post pattern on Kevin Smith. Just watch him out here. He's lined up out here. Here's Kevin Smith. You can see a little off him, and he's going to run the pattern into this area.
A 36-yard pickup.
You see him, he comes here, and then he just runs away from Kevin Smith. Brett Favre leads him perfectly.
Favre again, fires, incomplete. And the ricochet almost fielded by the Cowboys.
And it was almost fielded by Antonio Freeman.
Almost a touchdown for the Packers.
Well, you know, when Brett Favre throws that fastball as he did there, it's going to bounce off a lot of bodies, and it's going to hurt those bodies it bounces off.
Especially on a day as cold as today. The ball gets harder, and the hands get more brittle.
And Brett Favre doesn't take anything off of it. Darren Woodson been hit with a fastball like that.
Levens. There's some room. Levens to the 20. Knocked out of bounds by Dexter Coakley.
Now that's exactly the Packer running game. The Packer running game is not an inside running game. The Packer running game is at or towards the perimeters, and that's what Dorsey Levens does extremely well. I mean, Dorsey Levens will start like he's going off tackle and then bounce it to the outside.
He's a big guy. You'd think he'd be able to be very effective as an inside runner, but he isn't. He's better outside.
And then once he gets outside, you don't have, you know, big defensive linemen and linebackers tackle him. You have corners tackling, and then he gets a heck of a lot bigger.
Third down. Favre looking for the free play. Flag on the play.
Did you see that Brett Favre gave that hard count trying to get him off sides? Then he gets him to jump. Then he knows he has a free play. And he is so good at making a guy
accept the penalty.
Left defensive end. It's third down.
The hard count.
See, it's not only the hard count, Pat, but it's also the head bobbing, and you get the hard count, which is the voice, along with the movement of the head, and I'll guarantee you 80% of the time someone's going to jump.
You know, he had a problem yesterday speaking.
Yeah, he has strep throat.
Strep throat, yeah. So it's an effort.
I don't know that you can do what Tony Casillas did.
I don't know you can do what Brett Favre did.
Well, you know, if Brett Favre did what he did, I still don't think you can do what Tony Casillas did. I don't think you ever get a free shot at the quarterback.
Encroachment, 75, defense.
I guess you can.
Yeah, but he only did it. He only did it for the 5 yard. He didn't get anything else. But listen to this. This is what affects a defensive tackle.
Double.
I think what Tony Casillas says on that one is that the center, Frank Winters, moved also.
Yep.
So you got a little head bob and a little hard count by Brett Favre and a little movement by Bag of Donuts in there.
Favre. Incomplete. Intended for Chimura. Chimura comes out. Don Beebe has replaced him, so now they have 3 wide receivers. Here's Levin. Inside the 10 to about the 7.
This is one thing that the Packers like to do, and it's a signature of Mike Holmgren, is they like to get in a passing formation. You know, like you say, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, then get you in a nickel defense or pass defense, and then run the ball at you.
3rd and goal at the 7. Strickland comes back into the Cowboy defense as they split 2 receivers wide left and go with 2 tight ends.
And Tyrone Davis is over on that right side.
Wide open is Levens. And he just dances into the end zone and into the stands.
I think they got a double dip. I think Derek Mays was in there with them. They have so many receivers to cover. They had 2 on this side, 2 tight ends on the other side. So you get your wide receivers, then you get your tight ends, and boom, they just pop the back right through there in Dorsey Levens. And Brett Favre can always find them. That's the big thing. You can have guys open, but the quarterback doesn't always find them.
Longwell's extra point is good, and the Packers lead 7-0. 5:48 left to play in the first quarter. Green Bay on top.
Defenders. Here they got the 2 tight ends, so that takes these defenders. Then that leaves no one for the back Dorsey Levens. You see, and this is a formation thing. They got all the coverage over here, all the coverage on the right side, and look at the middle, wide open for Dorsey Levens.
Dexter Coakley was watching Brett Favre, sort of mirroring him.
And I think he was looking for an inside cut from one of those 2 tight ends on the right-hand side.
This is Herschel Walker. Walker burrows out to about the 26.
Now, Brett Favre told us yesterday that, sometime he's going to jump in like this. Remember last year, once Dorsey Levens went in there like that, and he came out full of beer. And he smelled. In fact, Brett Favre was talking about that yesterday.
He smelled awful. He got back in the huddle. They couldn't stand him.
Yeah, he said he smelled like beer the whole rest of the game. I think that time he came out fresh. I think he went in relatively fresh and came out relatively fresh.
That's Miller in motion as Aikman comes back to throw. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Bjornsson.
That up there too.
Team did.
Yeah, and then the team also, covered the cement down there so they don't slip.
Walker straight ahead. Biggest gain of the day for Dallas. Dallas first down.
Yeah, until that play there, right there, Dallas's offense was -6 yards. But again, you're always looking and you're thinking it's going to be the tailback, and then they just hand it to the fullback, seeing a counter type of thing. In fact, that's the same play that the Redskins ran last week against the Cowboys.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is keying Emmitt Smith. We got to stop Emmitt Smith, and then you slip it on a counter to the fullback.
2 tight ends, LaFleur in motion. Aikman back to throw. Here comes the blitz. Caught by Bjornsson, and Bjornsson gets about 5. Brian Williams made the tackle.
One of the areas that the Packers felt, and Fritz Shermer and talking to Leroy Butler and to Reggie White, that they've never played the Dallas Cowboys aggressively, that they've always been whipped and mauled at the line of scrimmage, and they kind of sat back too much. And in this game, they're going to try and do all those things different. They're going to go after them. They're not going to sit back, and they're going to try and maul their offensive line.
2nd and 5. Here's Emmitt Smith. Almost broke it. Brian Williams tripped him up, but another Dallas first down.
And that's a heck of a matchup. I mean, Reggie White isn't what he used to be, but when you get Reggie White and Eric Williams, you're getting 2 of the best players that have ever played their position. Eric Williams as an offensive tackle and Reggie White as a defensive lineman. But look at that contact. I mean, those are just 2 big bulls hitting heads.
1st and 10, Dallas at midfield. They show blitz, and Emmitt Smith shows them a first down. Cowboys to the Packer 35. There's where they miss Gilbert Brown.
And Gilbert Brown's coming in right now. In fact, Gilbert Brown looked at that run up the move, up the middle, and he started hitting his chest, and he just ran in. Because this is what they're doing. They're just going to come right in this area here, and you see that's if Gilbert Brown isn't in there and they get that 3-man line, they get a little lead block by Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker got a lead block there. Emmitt Smith was right in behind him.
The key block was by Larry Allen on Kaburski.
Most key blocks will be by Larry Allen.
He just buried him. Aikman caught by Bjornsson inside the 20. Eugene Robinson made the stop.
Watch this now. Here's Nate Newton. Now watch Nate Newton. He's going to come down here because you know that they're going to just try and knock Clay Shiver, the center back. So he's going to get some help from his guard. And watch when big Nate Newton comes down on him. He just slides on him and then just take that right hand and boom, just puts him right to the ground.
That's about 700 pounds, those 2 guys.
700-pound a guy, man. Oh, Nate left early that time. He got so excited.
Offense. Still first down.
Seems to follow him into this area.
Inevitably. Once they get in this area, they get penalties, they get fumbles. Here's Emmitt Smith to the 21.
You know, Fritz Shermer was saying yesterday that Gilbert Brown's box is about right in here. He said, you know, because we're right at him, right in that box.
2nd and 14. You would expect a blitz. You're going to get one. But the pass is complete to Bjornsson. Bjornsson gets down to about the 11-yard line where he's knocked out of bounds. Not enough for a first.
You know, push up the middle.
Nope.
Clay Shiver's probably happy as heck when Gilbert Brown goes off the field.
Big Gilbert just waved his arm and knocked Shiver aside. Here's Aikman back to throw with time. This time incomplete, almost intercepted. Stepford Williams pulled up, and Aikman led him to the inside.
And that was one of the new formations, a new
field goal from 29 yards out with Bjornsson holding. He's hit 30 this year already. I don't know how that one got through, but it did.
Looked like a knuckleball.
Like somebody shot it on the way there, but the Cowboys are on the board.
Deer seed.
All those things will run through my mind.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Schrader will return the kick. Schrader knocked out of bounds at about the 30.
Mike Holmgren said yesterday that he didn't want Schrader to be the returner. He was going to have him back there on kickoff returns. He doesn't trust him anymore as a returner because he's fumbled so often.
Fumbled 3 times.
He said he's going to put Don Beebe back there. He was a returner.
Mike Holmgren has never beaten Dallas. 0-7.
Yeah, and he said before they get rid of me or put me away or do something with me, I would like to do that.
I would like to beat Dallas. Now he's got him on his own playground. And they lead 7-3 at the end of 1. Here's Favre to Evans almost had something working.
Yeah, see,
knocked down by Thomas.
That's the same thing. If you look at that formation, again, you see it was 3 wide receivers. We saw Beebe in there, and they try and sell you that it's a passing formation. We're going to pass, and then they run a draw play on you.
That was the last play of the first quarter. And the score at the end of 1 at Lambeau. The Packers 7, the Cowboys 3. Wisconsin yesterday. We went out in the woods to talk to some of the deer hunters this morning at 7 a.m. It's quite a ritual.
It works out pretty good. You get the morning and evening hunt in, and the football games are in the middle of the day, so it works out fantastic.
Deer hunting comes first. Every year. It only comes once a year, and I'm always out deer hunting.
That's a big game. I wish they would have won last week, because if they would have, then I probably wouldn't be here today.
There's a big debate as to whether you come to the Packer game or go deer hunting. Screen pass to Henderson. Knocked down by Godfrey. Or Strickland, I beg your pardon.
I don't think there'd be any debate. I think you come to the football game.
Oh, yeah.
If you got the Dallas Cowboys, they've been waiting. The Green Bay Packers, the players, the coaches, the organization, Ron Wolf, the fans, have been waiting so long to get Dallas here in Green Bay at Lambeau Field. Then what the heck about hunting? You can hunt anytime.
Well, there were 650,000 hunters out in the woods on Saturday night. That's a lot of hunters.
Well, I don't know where to be on Saturday night, but I know where not to be on Saturday night.
I'm not going to be in woods, I don't think. Favre gets to Evans, and he's going to be tackled, or was almost tackled behind the line of scrimmage. He breaks out to midfield. That's a heck of a run. They had him, and he got away. Better go hunting for him.
Yeah, you talk about Dorsey Levens of being so big and strong, and and running outside, but also having good movement. I mean, you watch him here. He's going to start like he's going to go off tackle and then stop. Now, it doesn't look like there's a cut back here because there really isn't, and there's really no missed tackles, but he's just going against the grain. I mean, that was good. That you know, the Cowboys were coming right down the line. Everyone was in the lane, and he just cut right back against the whole grain of them.
At midfield, Favre. Flag on the play as Favre is tripped up, and down he goes. Henning.
Run to Levens. And
illegal formation. Offense. Number 72 lined up in the backfield. The penalties decline. Second down.
Second and 14. You're talking about Brett Favre. The thing about him to me is that he has such a good time playing. To Levin. To Henderson, I beg your pardon. Not much. Henderson. Brock Marion up from his safety spot to make the stop.
Yeah, Brett Favre is a football player. Yep. I mean, he enjoys every part of it. I was out there and watch him practice on Friday, and you know, everyone kind of bundled up. They have sweats and they have hooded sweatshirts and all that. He's out there in a shirt and a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
wonder he's got a strep throat.
I know. Well, that's what Mike Holmgren says. He said the guy never wears any clothes. You know, and then he doesn't wear socks. I mean, he wears some of those shower shoes. He wears shorts around when it's 10 below zero, and he loves to play football.
Two tight ends. Blitz off the corner for the Cowboys. The pass is caught by Derek Mays. Good catch and a hurried throw.
And it was good defense by the Cowboys, because what they did, even though Derek Mays caught that pass, it wasn't enough for a first down. So you're going to give them some of those things. They get in there with 4 wide receivers, and you're going to give them some things in front of you, but you're not going to let them get enough yardage for the first down.
Deion Sanders back for Hendricks' punt. I just got a feeling Deion's about ready to break one. Signals fair catch. Cowboys will take over at their own 19. 7-3 the score. There's Darren Woodson heading for the locker room. I don't know yet what's the problem.
You know, and that's a big part of that Cowboy defense. Yeah. Not only against the pass, but he's a big run player.
Aikman. Outside to Irvin.
His completion percentage just against the Green Bay Packers is like over 70%. Yeah.
That's Herschel Walker. And the ball comes flying out, but late. Gabe Wilkins made the stop. Darius Holland, by the way, has replaced Reggie White.
And with Big Gilbert Brown in there again, I don't know that you're going to make much going straight up the middle. I mean, the Gilbert Brown, the last time anyone saw him get weighed, he weighed 351 pounds. I mean, that's attested to that someone saw. And he hasn't worked out. He didn't work out all week, so I mean, he could be weighing anything now.
There's Reggie on the sideline.
You can't move him.
That's LaFleur in motion, and Aikman back to throw with time throwing. Almost caught through Michael Irvin's hands.
This is a great matchup.
Woodson, John, is that he's a strained shoulder, and he may or may not be back. Here's Herschel Walker. That same play again. This time it doesn't surprise the Packers. That loss of Woodson would be a key loss for Dallas.
Well, as you said, the key, because he's a big part of their pass defense, but he could be the biggest part of their run defense also. And then you talk about running and who has stuff to do on the running defense. Look at Gilbert Brown. When he's in there, they have no yards to the left, 2 to the middle, and none to the right. And then when he's not in there, that's when they got that big 34-yarder.
3rd and 7. Here comes the blitzers sneaking up, and the Cowboys pick it up pretty well. The pass is caught by Stepford Williams, but I think he's out of bounds. He is out of bounds.
He is, and that's Stepford Williams lines.
Number 50, offense is declined. 4th down.
Plays Shiver.
Yeah, number 50 offense is just against Santana Dotson there. Dotson gets by him, and Shiver just tackles him. But again, Stepford Williams was too close to the sideline, and Troy Aikman had no place to throw that ball.
Goins' kick is a good one. Derek Mays will return it. Mays gets out to about the 33 where the Packers take over. 7-3 the score with 9:25 left to play in the first half. In the direction that Derek Mays has to feel that punt is a very bright sun, and I guess calls for sunglasses.
Yeah, he put the sunglasses on. I watched him in the pregame warm-up when he was down in that area. He was wearing sunglasses, and so this is something that Derek Mays had planned to do.
First down, Green Bay. Favre fakes to Levens. Drops it out to Henderson. Right now, again for McDonald's game break. Let's return to Joe. Packers 7, Cowboys 3. Second quarter. Just under 9 minutes. Favre sidearms to Henderson. Coakley's right there.
That's one thing. You're not going to get away from Dexter Coakley. There's no fullback that's going to run away from him because of all the linebackers in the NFL, Dexter Coakley, even though he's a rookie, is the fastest and
maybe the smallest.
And he's the smallest, and you know you can block him if you can get to him. But the thing is that 5'10", 215 pounds, but with great speed. I mean, he has like corner speed. I mean, he runs like 4.3, 4.4, that type of thing.
And he gets up in a hurry if you knock him down.
Yeah, and there's no fullback that is going to be able to run away from Dexter Coakley.
Favre's got Levens and Henderson. Here comes the Dallas blitz. Favre is down. Coakley.
And that's Dexter Coakley again. What ran right by.
They picked up Randall Godfrey. Here's a great kick. Chases Deion Sanders back, but this is when he can be dangerous. Sanders. Flags come flying everywhere. 2 or 3 flags. Will Fracas
there's
breaks
a
out.
fight, yeah. That's what they're throwing flags on now. The first one was a penalty, and the second one was for continual play after they blew the whistles.
Continual play.
Well, continual fighting, continual action. Continual groping. Continual grabbing. Punching. Pulling, pushing.
That all brings flags.
Now this has to be a
Deion and Reggie.
Reggie White and Deion Sanders are going to clear the air.
They're going to take care of things.
Yeah. Let's get over here and just clear the air before Johnny Greer says something.
Doing the return. Holding number 87 will be declined. Personal foul, blocking below the waist, will be accepted.
2 fouls, both against the Cowboys, and they got the air cleared. Deion and Reggie did. Here comes Aikman, further back in the hole. 7-3 is back at Lambeau Field. Pat Summerall with John Madden, head coach Mike Holmgren of the Packers. His team's ahead 7-3.
Mike Holmgren, one of the head coaches that calls his own plays. There's about 7 or 8 in the National Football League. Head coaches, usually ex-offensive coordinators.
Emmett Smith, the ball carrier. Emmett out of bounds at about the 10. 2 Hall of Famers to play for both Dallas and Green Bay, and they both could really play.
One of them is here today.
Yep.
In fact, it wasn't on television, so the viewing audience won't know who he was, but he's the honorary captain for the Green Bay Packers.
He was out
today.
in the toss of the coin. Kaburski has replaced Gilbert Brown. Here's Aikman back to throw. Michael Irvin gets the Dallas first down. Again, the Aflac trivia question: who are the only 2 Hall of Famers to play for both these teams, both the Cowboys and the Packers? 2 very good players. The one of which John spoke before, Forrest Gregg, ex-coach of the Packers, and Herb Adderley, the great cornerback. Forrest Gregg, coach here, left to go to SMU. Holding called against Dallas, wipes out the first down. Holding against Eric Williams.
Of all the players he ever coached, that Forrest Gregg
was the best player.
Was his best player, and you think of Vince Lombardi and the Packers and all those guys. That's something very, very special.
Aikman out of the end zone. Now just trots out of bounds at about the 9.
Now those are two ugly plays the Dallas Cowboys just run. First of all, the
Cowboys have not been able to convert on 3rd down as yet.
I will say this, that the Packer defense is much more aggressive in this game than they have been in other Dallas Cowboy games.
Anthony Miller. This pass was behind the defender a bit. It's about the only place Miller could have caught it because he was well covered.
That was Tyrone Williams, and how that could happen. Tyrone Williams is number 37, and here's Tyrone Williams here, and that ball's going to go right by his head. He's not looking, but watch that ball come near. He turns and is thrown right inside there. We talked about the accuracy of Troy Aikman, and on that 3rd down pass there, you just saw it.
That's the only place it could have been complete.
Yeah, I mean, he was throwing it between hands and heads.
LaFleur was the man in motion. Aikman going deep again. Incomplete. Intended for.
She got something that could be a little better, maybe.
2nd and 10. Packers not showing blitz. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt outside the 40 to about the 41, short of a 1st down, but picked up about 6. Gabe Wilkins tripped him up.
Well, see, they can run inside there, and I think if I were the Cowboys, that would be a big part of my running game plan. If Gilbert Brown is in there, I would run inside. If Gilbert Brown is in there, then I would go towards the edges like the Cowboys started out doing. But if you have Kuberski in there, one of those other guys in there, you can work the inside of this Packer defense.
3rd and 4. The Indianapolis Colts certainly did last week.
They worked all areas of this Packer defense.
Out of step with Williams in motion. Aikman saw him jump, so he took off on a quarterback sneak.
The number 71 there.
And there's no flag.
That's Santana Dotson. He's one of the constants. I don't think there was any penalty. I mean, I don't
there
think there was anything to call. I think it was just a foul up. You see, if you watch Troy Aikman here, he's just going to get the ball, and I think the ball was snapped early.
That's exactly
what it was, because none of the other offensive linemen moved. It was probably one of those things that was supposed to be on 3, and Clay Shiver snapped it on 1.
Goins kick fielded by Mays at about the 12. And again, the Cowboys cover well. 3:35 left to play before halftime. The Packers with the ball lead 7-3.
Gunner, here it is. It's Billy Davis. Now you have 2 outside guys. You have a gunner on either side. And when the ball is snapped, they're the only 2 guys that can lead. So the punt return team puts 2 guys on him. And I don't know if you call that blocking or mugging or pulling or pushing or shoving or whatever it is, but that's always a heck of a physical battle.
Billy Davis got the last push.
I love these games when you can see your breath. I mean, then you're talking football.
Levens gets the carry, and there's nothing there. Fred Strickland is the first man to meet him. Fred Strickland, of course, played 2 years here for the Packers.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago I was talking to an old tackle, and he was 6'6", and he says, you know, as he says, an old lineman, he says, you can always tell if it's ever too cold to play. He says, if you're 6'6" and you spit and it freezes before it hits the ground, it's too cold to play. If it doesn't freeze, let's get after it, he says.
That happened back at the Ice Bowl. Pass is complete to Henderson. Short of a 1st down. Henderson has become, over this season, a respectable pass receiver. Heretofore, he was just a blocker.
Well,
that's the only way you thought about it.
We know that Mike Holmgren offense, that's exactly what it is. You know, that West Coast offense. We see Darren Woodson is back now. But that West Coast offense, that fullback has to be a lead blocker and a pass receiver. That's number 2.
Remember Roger Craig? Favre. He's got some room. Favre by Brock Marion. Gets the 1st down.
They were trying to force him that they wanted him to go backside, because I think when he goes to his left, he's not as effective a thrower as he is when he's scrambling to his right.
13-yard gain so far at Lambeau Field, 7-3. The Packers lead the Cowboys with 2 minutes left in the first half. Brett Favre just scrambled for 13 yards. The pass up the middle, 11 to the 45.
You know, it's interesting that you say it's been rather quiet. When Mike Holmgren was talking yesterday, he said, I can see this game where, you know, we play and it's real tight and not a lot of scoring, and then we kick a field goal at the end and win the game. I said, is that the way you're going to see this game? He said, no. I think we'll be ahead by more than that. But the way it is it's going to be that type of game. Like Brett Favre didn't get the play in from Mike Holmgren and had to take a timeout.
So the Packers have 2 left. The Cowboys have 3. Minute and a half left. First half.
It's everything to me. No way I'm playing a video game without the NFL. I want the game that plays like NFL football. I want a game that has all the NFL teams. I want the game that gets me to the Super Bowl. Again! NFL Quarterback Club 98, the only officially licensed NFL game on N64. I think we have ourselves a new dynasty here. Acclaim Sports. Sweat the details.
Ticker will have up to the second stats. Also live from Green Bay, and this is picked off by Deion Sanders. Deion outracing Brett Favre and scoring for Dallas.
And Brett Favre said he didn't want to mess with Deion. He says, you got to throw over there. There's certain things that you can't throw on him. He said you can't throw a comeback on him. You can't throw a fade on him. You can't throw an out on him. And the only thing you can really throw is an in or a cross and loose. And he was playing a zone on that one, and he was just watching Brett Favre and reading him. Brett Favre thought he was going to run off. He didn't run off at all.
I just had a feeling, remember the last punt, I just had a feeling he was about due. That is his 14th touchdown by return. A new NFL record.
And boy, did that quiet. He was looking in at the quarterback.
Ball blew off the tee. Again, stick around for halftime. JB and Terry and Howie and Ronnie all on hand. They'll analyze the first half. That's all next on the Dockers Khakis halftime report.
I just hope they saw that one. They had their backs to it, and Deion Sanders picked off of Brett Favre, and I don't know that they're going to be able to analyze that one. The ball flew off the tee, so usually they let it do once, and then the second time, then they have to get a holder in there. See, Herschel Walker. The holder. Now, he shouldn't blink, and he shouldn't let go. You have to keep that finger there. Don't let the finger go, and he didn't.
Short kick. It's amazing how that affects the kick. That's Schrader. Here's the touchdown.
Let's just watch. Here's Deion Sanders right here. And again, you expect that you're going to run him off. And you just watch him. You see, he's just playing zone, just sitting square, looking back at Brett Favre. Brett Favre expected him to be run off. Brett Favre expected him to have his back. Deion Sanders was just sitting there, and he threw it right to him. Deion Sanders runs very, very little zone. He's usually man-to-man and up in that type of thing.
What he does run, and when he does get the ball, he runs very, very fast. That pass complete to Chimura.
I think that was the first completion to his tight end today.
Right. Less than a minute. Favre trying to get his offensive unit to hurry up. Gets it out to Henderson. That's about his 5th reception of the day.
Yeah, but it's one of those for none yards because there was Dexter Coakley on him again, and Henderson isn't going to run away from Coakley, and Coakley isn't going to miss too many tackles. So
Favre takes a timeout.
If you're going to move the ball down the field, those little dump passes to Henderson aren't going to get you there very quickly.
Again, a reminder coming up on the Dockers Khakis halftime report. Joe.
I love him. I love him, man. They're like brothers because we're all in this together and we all get top coats.
Second and 9. Here's Favre dancing around. Hits his tight end, Chimura.
The play before that was the first time that he hit Mark Chmura in the game, and then he comes right back and hits him on back-to-back plays. You know, he was having trouble out there with the wide receiver, so he found something that he can do inside.
He had so much time, he just spiked it to stop the clock. This was the intended target.
Yep, that was the shot. They did take the shot.
3rd down and 10. That's Freeman on the move, and here's Favre back to throw, and again he has time. And the pass is caught by Antonio Freeman inside the 10 with 9 seconds left. And Green Bay used their last timeout.
And here's Antonio Freeman. You see him. He starts in motion, and then he comes back to where he originally lined up. And then he runs off of Beebe. Beebe goes deep and drives the zone deep, and then Antonio Freeman comes underneath.
They got no timeouts, the Packers.
So they have time to throw the ball in the end zone, and that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, I'm sure that Mike Holmgren told Brett Favre, you have to throw it in the end zone. You have to get rid of it quickly. You can't take a sack. So this is going to be one of those. They'll probably throw a slant or across something, a quick 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3, boom.
And if it's incomplete, of course, they still have time. Then that'll stop the clock, and they can get the field goal team on the field. Favre puts one of his tight ends in motion. And there's the penalty marker down. They used up a second.
Yeah, but I think that was Mark Chmura, their tight end, who came out of play and went back in.
Offense prior to the snap.
Exactly right.
Still 1st down.
Yeah, Mark Chmura writes some slanting. Slant is anytime you go up and then to the inside. This is a little tougher here.
Freeman and Mays both split out wide to the right. The throw is high and incomplete, and no flag. Intended for Mays, but well over his head. It took off on Favre. And now here comes the field goal unit.
Mike Holmgren, you know, saw that one took 3 seconds. He really, just on the clock, you really could do it one more time. But I think he said, that's enough. Let's get this field goal and try and tie the game up and go in tied at halftime.
5 seconds left on the clock as the two head coaches look on. From 32 yards out, Longwell. And the kick is good. Just sneaked past the upright. Joe Avazano and Barry Switzer watching. And this game is 10-10 with 1 second to go, and so far it has lived up to expectation.
Well, you know, you came into this game and you just feel that these teams are pretty evenly matched.
Yep.
And and you can see, one advantage here, one advantage here. The Packers, defending world champions, probably were a little better, but they have their injuries. The Cowboys aren't what they used to be, but they have so many big playmakers, and we see. I mean, you got a Troy Aikman throw into a Michael Irvin. You have a Deion Sanders making the big play, and as long as they have those guys, they're still dangerous in any game they play.
Look at the time of possession. The score, of course, is tied at 10-10. Look at the time of possession. There's 1 second left before halftime. Green Bay's had the ball 15 minutes. Dallas, when they return this kickoff, or when they receive this kickoff, will have had it exactly 15 minutes. Low knuckling kick. And that'll be the end of the half. Scott Galbraith took the kick and went out of bounds, but all the time expired while he was en route. 10-10. There's Deion Sanders, the man who got the Cowboys in the end zone. Brett Favre. That's the end of the first half with the score. Dallas. And so ready. What?
No, I was just going to say, is this harder to do? Being an ex-kicker, when it's cold like that, to make the ball soft before you kick it. Is that what you guys do?
I never did that. But
yes, you did.
The ball gets harder.
Yeah, but you would squeeze the ball before you kicked it. I watched it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Maybe I did, as I think about it. That's Bill Schrader. Let's go down now for a report from both coaches and from our Pam Oliver.
Well, Pat, Mike Holmgren said he was pretty pleased with the events of the first half. He said he won't change anything for the second half. His only regret is the interception from Brett Favre. Barry Switzer said that mainly he is pretty satisfied with the Cowboys' ability to run the football against the Packers. He wants to try to emphasize that. Again, he's confident that the Cowboys can run on the Packers. Back to you.
That depends on Pam whether or not Gilbert Brown's in the game or not.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty smart thing to do when Gilbert Brown isn't in the game. Work the middle, and when he is in the game, forget it.
Favre gets it out to Levens. It doesn't get much. Coakley and Tolbert out to make the stop.
You know, if we look at the Cowboys running game, when Gilbert Brown is in, they've made no yards to the left, no yards in the middle, and only 3 to the right. So, you know, this is where he plugs up. I mean, he's gonna plug up that middle. And you're not going to run in there. You can run around him and you can run by him, but when he's in there, you can't run at him.
Straight ahead is Henderson, stacked up in the middle by Hennings and a group.
Omar Stoutmeyer in there. Remember, he was the guy last week that hit Leslie Shepard of the Washington Redskins. And,
got fined.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty at the time. And in fact, there was no penalty at the time. And he got fined $5,000, didn't he?
That's a big percentage of his salary.
Yeah, he's a rookie from Fresno State, and he doesn't make a heck of a lot. I mean, he doesn't make a heck of a lot more than that per week.
Seeing more and more playing time as the Packers now have 3 wide receivers, 1 lone back. Favre is back to throw it. Has time. And completes it to Derek Mays. That'll be enough for a first down. Stoutmeyer made the stop.
Derek Mays has a chance to be a heck of a player.
Yeah.
He's in his second year out of Notre Dame, and he has good size, good moves, catches the ball well, and and he's a great third wide receiver, because when you put a third wide receiver in like Derek Mays, then he's not always going to draw the toughest cover guys.
Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday that he has the best hands of any of the Packer receivers. He catches the ball better.
He doesn't like the way he acts sometimes. So.
Well, those dark glasses. Favre going deep. Incomplete. Antonio Freeman, the target. Kevin Smith back with him.
I was talking about Derek Mays being third wide receiver, and he is when Robert Brooks plays, because Robert Brooks is the flanker and Antonio Freeman is the X. But now Robert Brooks isn't in there, so now Derek Mays becomes the X, or the weak side receiver, and Antonio Freeman becomes the Z, or the strong side receiver, which is Robert Brooks's position.
Brooks started, made a key reception early, but the report we got from the Packers is that he is dizzy, playing with broken ribs. Henderson gets into, that's Dorsey Levens, beg your pardon, for 8 yards. And gets into Dallas territory.
We were talking about how Dorsey Levens doesn't run a lot in the middle. That he's more of a screen guy, and he's a outside, a perimeter runner, but he weighs over 230 pounds. So when he does run in the middle, he can be effective. It's just that that with their guards and center, that's not a strength. The middle blocking is not a strength of this Green Bay Packer team.
Levens again gets the carry.
Now that was a trap. That was a great trap block by Aaron Taylor. Aaron Taylor, the left guard, came across and he trapped the other side. Now we always talk about a trap. What is a trap? Watch. Here's a guard, Aaron Taylor. He's going to come across and trap right here, and Levens is going to run right off that trap block. But watch that guy right there. You see him come across, and boom, he gets that block right there, and that opens a hole.
Trap Casillas.
Yeah, you let that guy come across like he's not going to be blocked, then you come and block him from the other side.
1st and 10, Green Bay. That's like Favre changing the play. Incomplete. He He threw it to Beebe, and Beebe saw it go right through his hands. He was open.
To me, I'd say look at number 28 in a white jersey, and that's what one is.
Looks like he's up there for a blitz this time.
Yeah, he's right here. There he goes.
Favre going deep for Freeman. Incomplete. And no flag. There's the flag. Flags came from both sides. Freeman almost breaking clear.
Pass interference. 21. Defense.
Deion Sanders got one for the Cowboys, and he's given up one. Here he is on this side. You usually don't see Deion Sanders on this side. You see him lined up in Antonio Freeman here. He has a man-to-man. Antonio Freeman gives him a little move, and then he gets a step on him, and then he continues to step, and Deion Sanders puts his hands on him. I mean, he had him covered. He didn't have to do that. But by rule, after he's 5 yards, you can't touch him. You see Darren Woodson there. He was trying to come on a blitz, and he just can't do it because of his arm. Brett Favre went right by him.
Henderson gets the carry.
I'm not sure exactly what Deion Sanders was doing because
either.
Antonio Freeman had a step on him. Deion Sanders is the fastest guy in football. He can catch him. And I think he just lost his concentration and just put both hands on him. And then the ball was in the air. And, of course, that's a definition of pass interference.
And you look at Woodson trying to rush Favre. He might have had a tackle. He might have had a sack if he had both hands.
And that's what Dave Campbell was talking about. Favre is a lot more dangerous when he scrambles or moves to his right side, which he did on that play.
Two tight ends. Favre fakes, fires deep in the end zone. Chimura. Touchdown, Packers.
And that is pass protection, and it's Brett Favre. We said Brett Favre has to do it today. He finds Mark Chimura, his big tight end out of Boston College, but he had great pass protection. Look at the time that Brett Favre is going to have when he gets back here. This is great pass protection. He can look and look, and he has time to find number 89 in the back in the end line.
Longwell for the extra point. 17-10 Green Bay. Watch the touch.
Look at the pass protection.
Madden 17-10. The Packers just took the lead on the touchdown pass. Here's Walker. Ball bounds into the end zone, and Herschel kneels about a yard deep. Here's the touchdown again.
Yeah, watch Mark Chimura. He's the tight end here. You know, a lot of times people will zone the goal line, but not cover the end line. Now watch what Chimura does here, where he goes inside, then he gets in the end zone, and then he just stops and turns, and then he works back towards the end line. And many times you can get a lot of touchdowns in this league by throwing at the end line and not always at the goal line.
Did exactly what Favre did. Just dropped it into the corner of the end zone. Here's Emmitt Smith. Emmitt out to the Cowboy 25. Picked up 5. Stopped by Seth Joyner. Gilbert Brown back in the defensive unit for Green Bay.
You know, again, you know that this is a passing league and it's a league of quarterbacks and receivers, but you have to be able to run. And you know, in that last drive, Green Bay was able to, you know, to get Dorsey. Levin's got some run. They got that trap where Aaron Taylor made a great trap, got a few runs, put the ring together, got a pass interference penalty, and then finds his tight end in the end zone.
Aikman to Smith again. 82. 2 more for first.
You see, that's how they can run right by Gilbert Brown. I mean, you know, that you can go to the right or left at him. You just can't go at him. You see, now here he is here. Now you can come in this area or you can go in that area, but you can't go in this area. Now watch how they just get him turned in there a little, and then they just go outside. See, his box isn't very big today.
No.
He has a bad ankle.
You can't go side to side.
And a bad ankle equals a short box.
3rd and 2. Walker goes in motion. Aikman back to throw it. if he has time, and he'll have a lot of time as he comes out. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Irvin, who couldn't hang on.
Yeah, you have to say someplace that Doug Evans is doing a good job on Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin wasn't the initial receiver on this.
He's with those sunglasses on as he's looking into a very bright sun, a low sun at that end of the Lambeau Field. Goins kick high. It should be covered well. Mays didn't fair catch. And Billy Davis was there immediately. He's lucky he held on.
Before where he got mauled, and that time he just splits the two guys. He just runs right through them, gets a step on them. Now they can't touch him, and he times that perfectly. Now when you get hit like that, that knocks some fluids right out of the top of your head.
Left a little spray there on the side. Levens. About 8.
This is a great combination that the Packers have. You know, Brett Favre has been the MVP in the National Football League the last 2 years, and and able to throw. And he has a lot of receivers, wide receivers, tight ends, and then Dorsey Levens running the ball. This is a pretty good combination for Mike Holmgren, where he never has to just do one thing.
Levens again. Close to first down yardage. Levens' 13th carry of the day. He's over 1,000 yards. And there haven't been a lot of Packer backs in the history of the team to go over 1,000.
Remember earlier in the season, of course, he took the place of Edgar Bennett. And before Edgar Bennett was injured and out for the season, Dorsey Levens was kind of a spot player. And he says that, it's a big difference being a starter. He said, you get tired. He said, was there anything you do? I said, I don't know. I haven't learned.
Favre drops it out to Chimura. Fights to stay on his feet.
One thing about Chimura, he is a strong guy. It takes a whole bunch to bring him down, but they got him on that one. But they didn't get him with one. I mean, he can proudly say that. They may have knocked me a little woozy.
Yeah, they
watch
might
his
have.
legs. I mean, his legs aren't straight. There was no one guy that did it. There's one. I straightened him up. Now watch. Now there's 2. He didn't do anything. 3, and they finally got me down with like the 4th or 5th guy.
2nd and 6.
He can say that as he wobbles back to the huddle.
He did wobble a little. Levens. A couple.
Dorsey Levens.
One of the things that is different with this Green Bay Packer Dallas Cowboy game is that, especially with the Packer offensive line, they're winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
And they haven't turned the ball over just at one time.
And over the years, they've lost that battle. And of course, a big part of it, isn't there with the Dallas Cowboys anymore. When Charles Haley isn't there and Leon Lett's not there. But this group that's on offense now is beating the group that's on defense in the line of scrimmage.
Favre back to throw. Pass is caught by Mays. That'll be enough for first. Well, maybe. He didn't get a very good spot, did he?
And that's what he's arguing about. He says that he was beyond it. He better get out of there. He's going to get in trouble. See, and Brett Favre knows it, too. He goes up and grabs Derek Mays and says, you get the heck out of there. But it didn't look like he had the first down.
He does have the first down.
They have 2 balls there.
What's going on?
One was short and the other one's long. But he's right by the marker. And again, we've talked about this, how a receiver has to be aware, and you can see that he catches the ball and he's well in front of the marker when the ball goes out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's where the football is when his feet go out of bounds is the spot.
And no question but that he had the first down. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Just inside their own 50. Incomplete. Intended for Freeman. Jammed his fingers.
Yeah, he probably dislocated a finger. He did more than jammed it. Yeah. That's one of those things you don't even want to look at. That's what you do. You just hand it to someone to pull back in place as you turn away.
Sanders back there with him.
This happens a lot to wide receivers and defensive backs when they go up for the ball and the ball just hits them on the finger.
And that ball on a day like today is hard.
And he looked down there. Did you see Antonio Freeman?
Yeah.
He looked down there at that finger, and he knew that it wasn't pointing the same direction it was when he left the huddle.
2nd and 10. Packers just shy of the 50. Levin. That's a good tackle by Brock Marion. Brock Marion's had a great year.
Well, you know, that's one thing that the Cowboys, I mean, that's the strength of their defense is their secondary. They have 2 corners in Kevin Smith and Deion Sanders that can play man-to-man and really free up the 2 safeties, Brock Marion and Darren Woodson, and they can do things like that. They can blitz, they can gang up on the run, they can do all those kinds of things, and then they become a strength.
3rd and 7. 3 wide receivers, nickel defense for the Cowboys. Here comes the blitz. Mays.
Boy, did Favre see that and get rid of that thing quickly. He has a hot read on the blitz. That was his hot read, and he just got rid of that ball before you could even see him.
Didn't even see the ball.
I mean, Derek Mays is going to run a slant because he knows that he's going to have to shorten that pattern down and get there a little quicker. Watch Derek Mays. Now he sees a blitz, so he just breaks it off right there. And look, the minute that he turned his shoulders around, the ball was right there.
1st and 10. Levin bangs inside the Cowboy 35 to the 34.
And you see what we're seeing now is this Packer offense is wearing down this Cowboy defense. And over the years, you know, we know that the Cowboys have beaten them 8 straight, but the opposite has happened.
Yep.
You know, it has been that now the Packers are playing like the Cowboys and the Cowboys are playing like the Packers.
And the Cowboy offensive unit hasn't been on the field very much in the 2nd half.
Well, that's domination.
Yep.
And that's what this Packer offense is doing, and this Packer offensive line.
Favre. Ball deflected. Incomplete.
Well, Brett Favre is down there arguing. I don't think Brett Favre misses a thing.
Nope.
I mean, I think whatever goes on in the field, I mean, you see him, he thought he
Back in row play tennis. And they used 10 balls to warm up. He knew where every ball was. He was up in the 3rd row of the stands. He knew it.
I'm sure Brett Favre knows where every ball is.
Well, there's only one. That 2nd effort will move the sticks again. Hard running by Dorsey Levin. Good running.
Good running, and you can just see this offensive line of the Packers is just wearing down this defense of the Cowboys, and they're just pounding at them, And, you know, a big part of it is the line blocking. They've done some trapping. A big part of it is Dorsey Levin's running, and it's also the big fullback, William Henderson, doing lead blocking in there.
1st and 10, Packers. Levin's again. Levin's dragging people across the 25.
You know, one thing that they're doing is they're running a lot, but they're mixing up their formations. I mean, they're doing it from, you know, an I formation. They're doing it from an offset I. That play was from split backs. You know, we talk about guys calling plays. Mike Holmgren is a head coach who calls his own plays, but he's a great play caller.
2nd and 5. Levins is the deep back. And he gets the carry. Levins doesn't get much this time. Couple. But they're hammering away.
And the thing that they're doing, you know, you're talking about how they're keeping the ball. They've had 3 third downs on this drive, and they've converted each of them. And now they have another. They have their 4th here. But when we were talking to Brett Favre yesterday, he said these are the situations that he wants to be in on 3rd down. Not that 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10, but like 3rd and 3 or 4 or 5. He said they feel very comfortable in this situation. Yep. He got that one.
Flag on the play. Favre.
That was Brett Favre in his starting count. That's the 3rd or 4th time he's gotten the Cowboys today.
3rd time.
Defense.
Hurd and McCormick.
First down.
Now that's just undisciplined defense there. I mean, at some point you have to know that. Let's listen again here to how Brett Favre does this. I mean, that shouldn't do that. By now you ought to know it. You ought to know the guy's giving you some hard count. The guy's changing his count. If it happens in the first quarter, the first few plays, you do it. But now you have to be disciplined and know, hey, that's what they're doing.
That's 4 times now they've converted. Here's Levin. Back to the 13. Now for a McDonald's game break. Let's return to Joe Buck at the Fox television. There was a flag and a personal foul called against the Cowboys. Shante Carver.
Yeah, here's Shante Carver here. And you can see again, they've just been whipping him on the line of scrimmage. Ross Verba is whipping him there, and then he just goes and hits Verba. That's stupid. You got undisciplined play, and then you have stupid play. Undisciplined was jumping offside. Stupid is hitting some big old tackle.
First and goal at the 7. That's Henderson. He moves the pile inside the 5 to about the 3.
Plus, I don't know if Ross Verba is one of those guys that you want to hit. He's a rookie and all that, but he's a pretty tough guy.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember stories about training camp, and they said that this guy in training camp got in a fight every day. And he's one of those guys. He's just a big scrapper, and he's going to get in there and scrap with you all day. And he's been scrapping with Shante Carver and winning the scrap all day. And Shante Carver just got frustrated.
3 tight ends. Favre. Touchdown. That's Shimura's second.
You don't think this guy has a monkey on his back? You don't think that he's tired of hearing, why can't you guys beat the Cowboys? You don't think this isn't a game of emotion? You don't think that Brett Favre plays quarterback like he's a nose tackle?
10 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. Shimura just scored his second touchdown. Longwell for the extra point. Cowboys, I believe, have only run 3 plays in the 3rd quarter.
The Cowboy defense is a whipped unit.
24-10 Green Bay.
How did you get down here? Ma.
Did you eat your chunky soup?
Yeah, Ma. Chunky beef with country vegetables. With more beef than any other soup. Lean beef, potatoes, vegetables. Chunky always hits the spot. Where'd you get that outfit?
Can't talk, gotta go. Just want to make sure you're eating good.
That's my mom.
Oh, yeah? Which one?
Campbell's Chunky Soup.
It's loaded with beef.
Here, you can see that they have 3 tight ends in there, and no one covers him. He just goes straight up in the end zone and turns around, and there's not a Cowboy around him. And when Brett Favre sees something like that, you know you're going to get 6 points.
Longwell's kickoff, sailing down to Herschel Walker. Walker stays on his feet to the 30, 31. In the 3rd quarter now, with 10 seconds left, well, that's the last play of the 3rd quarter. Green Bay ran 25 plays. Dallas ran 3. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score 24-10, Green Bay leading. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these. Some band tradition, the old tuba march.
You don't see an old tuba march much. They say that
no, not many of them anyway.
They do that between the 3rd and 4th quarter. Yeah. They give you a tuba march.
The highlight of the day. Emmett Smith from Aikman. Picked up 5, perhaps.
Well, those things go together, though. When you think of football and Lambeau Field and Green Bay, and you come in here and down Lombardi Avenue, and the regular grass and the tradition and everything that's here. And between the 3rd and 4th quarter, you should have a tuba march.
I've been coming here since the 1950s, and that's the first tuba march I've seen.
No, they say that every game they have a tuba march. I
just haven't been located correctly. Incomplete, intended for Irvin.
You know what I just got? Yep. How he came down? I just saw him. He came running out. There he is right there in his top coat. I don't know that,
it might be too late.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to be able to do the same thing or have the same results that he had that have been dropped.
3 wide receivers. Aikman, Stepford Williams, enough for first.
It's interesting how Stepford Williams comes in now, and And it seems like to me that he's really Troy Aikman's go-to guy on third down.
Yeah.
And, you know, he is a third down or nickel receiver, and he likes him. I mean, he, you know, finds him, and, you know, and he's able to find him. If you look on third down, they've thrown to him 29 times. He's made 17 catches, and little Stepford Williams has made 14 first downs.
And he is very slight. Little. Here comes the Packer blitz. Here's Aikman back to throw it. Going for Irvin, who's got it at the 20, out of bounds at about the 21.
Seth Joyner came on a blitz and just ran right over a blocker and almost got to Aikman, but Aikman stood in there and he found Michael Irvin down there. Watch the blitz. You're going to see the blitz come right up here, and then you're going to see the pass out to that side. See, there he is. Watch that. I mean, and that was very, very close. And Troy Aikman just stood in there and threw a perfect pass to Michael Irvin.
1st and 10 at the Green Bay 21. Emmitt Smith going to walk in.
What a run that was. I mean,
Jerry.
Yeah, he's going to start believing this stuff. Jerry Jones.
Maybe he wasn't late.
You know, he didn't have anything to do with that one. That was just good blocking and just good quick running by Emmitt Smith. Maybe you get the feeling that the Packers had the ball that whole third quarter, and this team just had, but watch, is going to run right into this side. Emmitt Smith is, and I don't think he gets touched. I mean, a great block there by George Hegeman.
Yeah.
George Hegeman just comes down and collapses that whole left side.
You know what else?
Run anywhere.
Extra point is good. It's 24-17. Didn't take long to tighten things up.
Great block by George Hegeman. Here on Fox right now.
Can't.
Now we are talking.
24-17, Green Bay leading Dallas. It's going to be Schrader to return it. And Schrader's got some room and out of bounds. Out to the Packer 39, where the offensive unit heads back on for the green and gold. Reggie White. The Christmas trees up in the Christmas presents up in the trees. That'll give you an indication of the temperature. With the wind chill, it's down to about 0. The streets are vacant. They're all here or deer hunting.
Or they can be in their houses watching this on television too. You could shoot like cannons down those streets and not hit anything other than a branch on a tree. Green Bay is a fun town to come in.
Yeah,
where I mean, it's one of the few stadiums where you drive in a state way.
Lambeau Field. Favre back to throw. Chased is Favre. He's still on his feet and scrambles for about 8 yards and looked like nothing.
Yeah, and Dave Campo was saying that we don't want him to scramble to his right. That's when he's at dangerous, but that's what he does. I mean, you can't stop him. I mean, if you could stop him, then he wouldn't be able to scramble to his right. I mean, he can do that, and the advantage he has is he has good speed. He's a tough guy. He's a competitor, but he also has the ball in his hand, and he uses the football to just point it at some guy, and that will always bring a defender's hands down and hold him.
And he stayed in bounds. He gives to Levin. He's taken down by Coakley with an assist from Mathis. But Darren Woodson down on his all fours over on the side. He's really hurting. What a warrior, as you said before.
You know, he
what
has
a player.
I mean today he has a shoulder. You can see the right arm is taped to hold his shoulder in place. We know that last week on the last play of the game he hurt his ankle. We know that 3 weeks ago he injured his knee. So you can go from the bottom of his toes up to his head, and he has a number of injuries.
At some point, you got to ask yourself, are we better off without him out there?
I don't think so.
Here's Evans again, chased by Coakley, first down.
And this is what Dorsey Levens does so well: is start inside and then bounce it to the outside, and everyone knows that too. I mean, he's going to start inside like he's running off tackle. He starts in there, and then he brings the defense in there and then holds them and then outruns them to the perimeter. But on any good run, a wide receiver has to get a block. And you see Don Beebe, their little Don Beebe, he just pancaked Kevin Smith. That's it. In the history of football, Don Beebe's life, that's the first pancake block he's ever had.
1st and 10, Green Bay. Levens the line back.
67 slant, he called.
Levens to the 40. Picked up a couple, stopped by Brock Marion.
You know, Brett Favre was worried yesterday. He has strep throat, he said. He said his wife has it, and his wife lost her voice, and he was kind of worrying about him losing his voice today, but that hasn't happened at all. This was an audible. You heard him on the line of scrimmage saying 67 slant, 67 slant. He ran to a bubble. The bubble was on that side, so he ran the 60 series in the 7 hole.
2nd and 8. Favre back to throw it. What a catch. Antonio Freeman. I'm sure he's got a dislocated finger, but he still came up with that catch.
I know, it was just a minute ago we saw Antonio Freeman having a dislocated finger pop back into joint. And here, and this is a Brett Favre fastball too. I mean, he comes in here against a zone and he just hooked, and he had to lay out and stretch. I mean, that thing didn't hit him between the 8 and the 6. He had to go get that one. But Brett Favre, with his arm, he can throw into holes. And he can throw into a hole where his guy can go in the hole and get it, and a defender can't react to it.
And a defender doesn't think it's any way the ball can get in there. Favre to Levens. Levens met by Coakley. Dexter Coakley's had an outstanding game.
Yes, if you can keep a blocker, and a lot of the Cowboy defense is designed that way, to keep blockers off of Dexter Coakley, he can run and catch any running back in this league. And he's a good tackler too. I mean, he can do something about it when he gets here. The problem is when you get a blocker on him and get him cut off.
2nd and 12. Henderson is out. The extra tight end comes in.
You know who's playing well today is a left tackle right here, Ross Verba, the rookie.
Tyrone Davis is in the game. There's Favre back to throw it, looking across the middle to Levens, who's taken down inside the 25 at about the 23. Not enough for a first. It'll bring up another one of those clutch 3rd downs, and they've been masterful at converting so far.
In the last couple plays, we saw Brett Favre drill one, and then we see him just take it off and just throw a little touch pass. I mean, he can do that. I mean, he can put any speed or velocity on it you want. I mean, as hard as anyone can throw it, he can throw it that hard, and he can put as much touch on it as anyone.
3rd and 8. Timeout called by Green Bay. Packers leading 24-17. For 17, the Packers lead the Cowboys. 8:25 left to play. 3rd and 8, Green Bay at the Dallas 24-yard line. Favre. Man open, flag on the play. Flag on the play was Freeman. Penalty marker down.
Holding, number 28, defense is declined. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Favre to Freeman.
And again, part of this is protection. We're going to see Antonio Freeman right here. He just comes and he's working on a cross, and then he decides to get away. In fact, it was Darren Woodson who was holding him.
Yep.
He was trying to get across on Darren Woodson, couldn't get across him, so he just went up. We'll watch Brett Favre buy some time now. Good pass protection, a little scramble by Brett Favre, and improvising by Antonio Freeman.
Left to play at Lambeau Field with Green Bay leading Dallas 31-17. Longwell set to kick it off. Walker and Marion back deep. That's Herschel Walker. Fumbles. Picks it up on the bank. And Walker Bangs away out to the 30. So the Cowboys will take over with back at Lambeau Field. 31-17. Packers over the Cowboys. 8:07 left to play. That Ring of Honor around Lambeau.
I think these fans were waiting for this moment when it got to be where it looks like they have it. They were waiting to, to let it all out. They didn't want to let it out too soon, but I think they feel comfortable at 31-17. Listen to him.
Incomplete to Smith, and right now for McDonald's game break. It's 2nd and 10 at Lambeau, 31-17. Packers leading the Cowboys. Here's Aikman back to throw it. Irvin incomplete. And a flag on the play.
And they're probably going to call that against Doug Evans.
Probably.
Michael Irvin has only caught 3 passes.
First down, Dallas. Aikman drops. Irvin.
So then the rest of their defense could do more aggressive moves.
2nd and 4. LaFleur in motion. Aikman to throw. First down to Bjornsson. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the NFL is prohibited.
I know what Mike Holmgren's feeling right now. 7 minutes left. Can be the longest 7 minutes in football. You got them down and you just want it to get over with now. It's been a long dry spell for Mike Holmgren, the Green Bay Packers against the Dallas Cowboys.
Walker in the backfield with Smith. Deep. Aikman overthrows. Anthony Miller, the intended.
They said his back is feeling pretty well. But, I mean, Reggie's not the same Reggie that he used to be, but Reggie White is one of the greatest players that has ever played in the National Football League.
Miller just left the game. Aikman back to throw. Incomplete, intended for Bjornsson. LaFleur was in the air. Most of them have never been to Lambeau Field. And what it's like to play here is a little bit different. Aikman gives on the delay to Emmitt Smith, and he is hammered immediately.
By Santana Dotson. Santana Dotson is one of those guys that is kind of the go tackle. He's going to take off on every play, which he did then. He got Emmitt Smith before Emmitt Smith even got close to the line of scrimmage. Watch Santana Dotson. I mean, he is up here and he's going to take a move right now. You see, he makes a move and then he goes sideways, makes himself small, goes in the hole sideways, comes out the other end, and there's number 22.
And so the Cowboys will punt, and the clock's still running.
I coached his dad with the Oakland Raiders. His dad was a good football player, Alphonse Dotson.
Remember him. Derek Mays signals fair catch back at the Packer 11. And so Green Bay takes over. 6:02 left. They lead 31-17. John Madden back at Lambeau Field. 31-17. The Packers lead the Cowboys with 6 minutes and 2 seconds left.
Yeah, that's a sight that you don't see much is young kids at NFL games anymore.
That's right.
I mean, young kids wearing stuff like that, you don't see that either. But
something we need.
Plain young kids. Yes, we do.
11's the carry. 7 out of 7 on 3rd down in the second half. That's the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers went in at halftime and they did some talking, and whatever happened, they've really had the ball the whole second half and completely dominated. The Cowboys did get that one touchdown with Emmitt Smith and so on, but other than that, they've really dominated, and especially this area right here, the Packer offense.
It just worn them down.
Yeah, and Brett Favre had to do it, and Brett Favre did it. I mean, he's thrown 4 touchdown passes, he's scrambled, he's been so aware and played so well.
11's to sweep it. Gets close to another first down.
You know, here's a group. I mean, this Ross Verba, the left tackle's done an excellent job. Aaron Taylor, the guard, he's starting to become a Pro Bowl player. We saw him in the trap. Frank Winters, old bag of donuts in the center. And in fact, yesterday, Brett Favre was saying probably the guy that he could ill afford to miss is his center, Frank Winters. Adam Timmerman, the right guard, Big Earl Dotson, the right tackle. I mean, that group has dominated the defensive line of the Cowboys today.
Well, you and Ron Wolf were talking yesterday about who's the best offensive line in the NFC. I think today you'd have to say this group. Levin still on his feet, pounds outside the 30 to the 31. They convert again on third.
We're talking about Frank Winters. Let's watch him right here, the center. You know, not only does he have to make the calls and all the adjustments, but then he has to make a block too. And they start a good double team on Chad Hennings. They get him down, and that's the start of the hole for Dorsey Levens.
27 carries, 131 yards for Levens, a new career high for Dorsey. The Packers move the sticks, and that's what they needed to do.
A big part of it is Levens, and part of it is Henderson, and another big part is the offensive line we just talked about.
Here's Levens again. Couple.
Dorsey Levens. There's a flag
on the play.
Another flag. You see that one official gave the signal like forearm.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 56 on the defense.
Randall Godfrey.
Yeah, these are just frustration penalties. We saw Shante Carver, you know, about a half hour earlier do the same thing. We see Randall Godfrey doing it here. Those are the things that the Packers have taken it to him. And, you know, and that's what happens. And, you know, and it's going against
retaliation. Winters hit him first.
Yep, old bag of donuts. He's one of those guys, Frank Winters, that's always down there causing trouble and then walking away from it. And then, you know, puts his hand up. You're like, what, me? I didn't do anything. What?
Have you explained bag of donuts?
Well, that's his nickname, bag of donuts. But, you know, I mean, that's what, if you look at him from his waist to his neck, he looks like a bag of donuts. That's what Bill Moss said, not me.
Yeah. A disclaimer yet.
I know, Bill Moss. That's what he calls it, Frankie Bag of Donuts.
Henderson hit at the line of scrimmage. Today's game being produced by Bob Stinner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roy.
Place I'd rather be right now than right here. I think that when you get into November and of course in 4 days we got another game in Detroit and Thanksgiving. You can't beat that either. But to go from Lambeau Field to Detroit for Thanksgiving Day to Kansas City, which what we're going to do, it doesn't get any better than that, I don't think.
Probably some of those people in that
would have scored 31-17. They'd go someplace.
What are they doing here? Yeah, that's a good question.
And they all stay close to get each other's body warm.
That's the key, I think.
They always have something on their head because you lose heat in your head.
Here's Levens again. Breaking away is Dorsey Levens, and still going is Levens.
Holy moly, he's
what a run. Brock Marion finally got him to the ground.
This crowd isn't going anyplace. There's no place they'd rather be.
30-yard run by Levens.
They've waited a long time to get the Cowboys up here at Lambeau Field. They've waited a long time to beat the Cowboys, and every one of them is going to enjoy it. This is when football is fun. When you're a Green Bay Packer or you're a lineman and you've been working all day and now you got things going your way, this is when it's fun. This is when all big old offensive linemen get smiles on their face.
And Dorsey Levens is going to have a smile on his face, too. Here's Levens again. First down and out of bounds. Brock Marion knocked him out of bounds. He's got to be close to 200 yards today.
I know, and you see what happens when you start to wear down a defense. They're not as anxious to tackle as they used to be.
He's a load.
I mean, they just come in and you got the trap block by Taylor. He didn't even have anyone to trap. You got Henderson on a lead. He can hardly find a guy to block. All the Cowboy jerseys are going backwards.
Levens, 30 carries, 176 yards today.
I tell you, this group that's in the huddle right down there now, this group of Green Bay Packers, they have put a whipping on this Dallas Cowboy defense.
And they're not about to let up.
Dorsey Levens isn't. That offensive line isn't. They're having too much fun.
Here's Favre. Brett Favre stays in bounds down to about the 8-yard line. Flag on the play. A flag on the play as Favre was hit out of bounds.
And that's going to be against Randall Godfrey again. I think he just took a swing and slugged Brett Favre in the head, I think. I think he just took a swing with his right hand and hit Favre. One thing about Brett Favre, though, he's a tough quarterback. He's not going to go out of bounds. We'll watch him there. See, Coakley misses him. He's staying in bounds right there. You see that?
He looked to the head.
Defense. Unnecessary roughness. First down.
Yeah, that's his second one. I mean, that's just a frustration penalty. I mean, you want to knock the guy out of bounds, you want to do all those things, but he just clubbed him right in the head. And sometimes when you're getting whipped, that happens to you. And you get frustrated.
2:25 left to play. 31-17. The Packers staring at the Cowboy end zone again. This has been a long time coming.
Where in the heck did that guy come from?
I hope he hadn't been here a long time.
Don't have to worry about what the heck he was going to wear today.
Levens. That's his second touchdown of the day.
I think Dorsey Levens has gained so many yards and taken so many hits today that he's too tired to even jump into the end zone, even jump into the stand.
There's a flag on the play. I think this is against. This one might be called back.
Maybe that's why he didn't jump into the stands. Maybe that's why he didn't give the old Lambeau leap.
Holding number 30. Offense.
Henderson.
Still first down.
Before two.
Here's Levens. Down the corner and knocked out of bounds at about the 12-yard line by Brock Marion.
Super Bowl, but you didn't beat the Cowboys.
Couldn't beat the Cowboys.
You know, and this can be the last but for Mike Holmgren.
Yep.
You know, it's what you did this, but you can't be. You know, you did well, but you didn't get a Super. Okay, you won a Super Bowl, and now he's eliminating his last but.
Well, that's the one thing he said. I hope I get that monkey off my back before they put me away or before I'm fired.
I wonder what he thought they were going to put him away too.
I
heard him say that. Yeah, before they put me away.
Here's Levens again. Brock Marion, and he hammers down to the 5 as Marion makes another tackle.
Dorsey Levens is saying, "Someone pinch me. I can't believe this."
The 2-minute warning. 31-17. Brett Favre and Deion Sanders.
Well, of course, they were teammates, remember, with the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. In fact, at that time, Deion Sanders gave Brett Favre the nickname Country Time. Deion was prime time.
3rd and goal at the 5, and Levens gets the carry. Dorsey Levens touchdown, and that sets the Packers all-time record. That broke Jim Taylor's record for the most rushing yards in a game by a Packer runner.
The Green Bay Packers are having fun. They remember the last time when they were in Dallas, where Dallas set a record. Remember, they set a field goal record.
Yep. 33 carries, 190 yards for Dorsey Levens.
They said, "We'll get you up here at Lambeau Field and we'll set our own records."
Longwell's extra point is good. And it's Green Bay 38, Dallas 17. Here's Levens' record-breaking touchdown. He still looks fresh, doesn't he? Has been waiting a long time for this. Herschel Walker. Out to the 30-yard line.
I was just going to say, Pat, you talk about this crowd and these fans, and you'd think with a score like this that the fans would be starting to leave.
Somebody would have left.
But, I mean, they're all still sitting here, and it's something that it's a moment, and they're going to make a moment, and they're going to enjoy these moments. And they're not going to walk away and sit in their car or be at a tailgate or be someplace else. They're going to be right here and take it all in, absorb this victory.
And the Wisconsin band is going to do another series of marches, numbers, whatever. The fifth quarter, they call it. Wade Wilson is the Dallas quarterback. Wilson intended for the numbers.
I think if I were the Dallas,
that's Nate Newton down.
Yeah, that you don't need it. I mean, at some time you have to call in the dogs and put out the fire because the hunt is over.
Jerry Jones on the sideline in front of the Cowboys. Final score, the Jets beat Minnesota 23-21. And Tampa Bay lost, so the Packers, in addition to beating the Cowboys, will have sole possession of first place in the NFC Central.
You know, and that's another thing that this group of fans can be celebrating today is a long-awaited victory over the Dallas Cowboys, but then also they'll be in sole possession of first place.
Yep. Stay with us after the game is over.
Maybe Bill Moss can talk about Frankie Bag of Donuts. Now, here's something that shouldn't have happened. You know, with a score 30 today.
No. Sherman Williams is the running back. Sherman gets the carry from Wade Wilson. And a fumble, loose ball. Sharper. Touchdown.
There's a rookie getting his first Lambeau leap. Oh, Darren Sharper, he still hasn't made it. I don't know that that's a Lambeau leap.
They tried to grab him. Too many gloves.
Yeah, I think that's a half a leap. That's like a Lambeau leap.
Sharper's second touchdown this year.
He didn't get his Lambeau leap, but he did get the football.
For the extra point, Longwell to make it 45-17. It was 10-10 at the half. And the Packers took control. 45-17. The remaining schedule for the Packers, and it's no vacation. Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Buffalo. And for the Cowboys, Tennessee on Thanksgiving Day, followed by Carolina on a Monday night, Cincinnati, and they close with the Giants. They'll have to regroup.
Look at these fans. They know they can celebrate now. If they didn't know it before, they know now we got this one. This one is under control. Bring out the towels, bring out the cheeseheads, bring out the we're number one.
God has blessed Green Bay today.
You know, only in Green Bay can you have something like this.
Here are the standings. And the NFC Central, Green Bay will be 9-3, 5-1 in the division. Minnesota and Tampa Bay 8-4. Minnesota 3-3 in the division. Tampa Bay 2-4. So Green Bay again atop.
And a week ago, after they lost to the Indianapolis Colts, they were so low, and I think that carried all the way over into today's game. But boy, did they change that.
There's Walker. The NFC East and his officiating crew have been rather quiet.
Illegal block in the back.
Today, for the most part.
First down.
And I think that yesterday Barry Switzer was saying he felt that if they could beat Green Bay today, getting beat this badly, you wonder what's going to happen in their next 4 games.
Well, to have any chance at all, you better run the table from here on in. Coming up on the NASDAQ postgame report, we'll get you up to date on all
the biggest difference is then they were able to, you'll make that run and get the best record in home field throughout. But with the 49ers out there this year, they aren't going to be able to do that, I don't think. Get home field throughout.
Wilson hands to Williams. Tripped up. Holmgren doesn't even look like he's cold, does he?
Oh, well, you don't care now. This is the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, this is what it's all about when you're a head coach and you got a game like this and you've been waiting and you've had that thing and the yeah, but you can't beat the Cowboys. You finally do. Man, this is great.
And you don't just beat them. You beat the dickens out of them.
Yeah, and you get something that they can never say about you again. They can't say you can't beat the Cowboys. They can't say you can't win the big one. They can't say you can't win the Super Bowl. Heck, you've done it all.
This play of the game is brought to you by Energizer. And this is the one that broke the 10-10 tie. That was the score at the half, and it's as far to the tight end, Shimura, the back of the end zone.
Hey, you see the time that he had time to look to his right, to pump fake, and then find his big tight end.
Right now, let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Thanks, Pat. With the star of the game here, Dorsey Levens, you turned into a fine runner in this league. Tell me how you were able to have so much success against the Cowboys today.
The guys up front just brought it all together. William Henderson did a great job blocking, and the more they fed me, the more I got into a zone. I felt more comfortable, and the guys up front were just making huge holes for me.
You glad to finally get rid of the Cowboys, to finally have that distinction of having at least have some success against them?
I think so. That monkey's been on our back for a long time. To beat us 7 in a row, it feels great. You can't believe how good it feels. We always knew if we got him here, it'd be a completely different story, and that's exactly what happened.
Congratulations, Dorsey, and thanks a lot. Let's move over to Brett Favre. Brett, great game for you today. That monkey's off the back, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess you can call it that. But, the bottom line is Dallas has beat us down there fair and square. And finally, we put a full game together and beat a good football team.
Now, the only blemish for you, I guess, would be the interception of Dion. I know you guys were joking a little bit at the end of the game.
Well, I played against Dion a long time. He picked me off in college for a touchdown. I was just giving him a little grief about it. And he's a great player. He made a great play on it.
All right, thanks, Brett. Let's move on to Frank here, your center. Great job for you today as well. Tell me what this means because you got a pretty tough road ahead.
Well, it's a great win for us, and we've been trying for the last 6 years, and we have not been able to get it done. We finally get them in Green Bay, and it's a big win for us in Green Bay, and we ran the ball well, and we have to continue to do that throughout the season.
Let's talk about the battle at the line of scrimmage, which you guys obviously won, but how tough was it in the trenches?
Well, it was tough early to go. We just kept with the running game, and it kept on working, so Mike stuck with it, and it paid off for us at the end.
Tell me a little bit about Dorsey. He's really turned into quite a weapon for you guys.
Dorsey's a great back. He runs the ball hard. He's the kind of guy that gets strong as the game goes on, and he had a lot of carries today, and it's probably one of the greatest running back, the best game of his career.
All right, thanks, Frank. Thanks for stopping by. Let's go back upstairs to Pat.
All right, thank you, Pam. And congratulations to the Packers, 45-17 over Dallas, and the monkey is indeed off their back.
Their long national nightmare is over. In the ultimate Cold War, 22 degrees to be exact, the Packers threw out the pieces of history that had conspired against them.
Every time we'd lose down there, it was very, very difficult and kind of had to answer the same questions all the time. And so there's really a good feeling in that locker room.
It feels about like I thought it would. It's great that we finally beat these guys. It's a shame we had to wait this long.
Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren had never beaten the Cowboys, but after a decade of travel to Dallas, the road show came home, and as usual, the team with the great offensive line and powerful running back won the game.
It was like the team who dominated up front always won the game, and in the past, we haven't been able to do that, and today, offensive line did a great job. William Henderson did a great job, and we just ran the ball at him.
I don't know if our plan was to give him 190 yards, but when you run it the way he's running it, you stick with what's working, and heck, it made it easy on me. It was fun watching that. Our offensive line just dominated them. It was great.
Favre, who threw 4 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers, buried the offense to lead the Packers down the field in the third quarter, chewing up 13 minutes while the Cowboys ran only 4 plays.
Our offensive line took over. I think the biggest key in the game was when our offensive line kind of took over and we were able to run the ball continuously and not throw it and and get points.
Mike feels it when the weather's bad up here and it starts getting cold and you start pounding the team, it kind of demoralizes them, and that's what happened. We went out there, the first 2 drives we had, we really pounded the ball really hard, and then it just started coming in big buckets.
Brett Favre had a strep throat and the weight of history against him. He said his greatest fear was that 30 years from now, people would say, yeah, the Packers, they won 3 Super Bowls, but they couldn't beat Dallas. Well, he can now put that to rest and turn toward the playoffs, helping the first-place Packers keep their frozen field advantage. At Lambeau, I'm Leslie Visser, ESPN.